fantastic week of India and Stuff, the show where we've got behind the scenes, in-betweens, and all the other stuff. If you are watching today on YouTube, you're gonna watch me try to balance my coffee here while I'm sitting on the edge of our guest bed. I'm in our super cute little guest bedroom this year. I might switch up the color scheme later this summer when I have motivation to like do stuff. It is very beige in here, but I really like it. It's got a ton of natural light. It's been a fun room. You can kind of see the circle behind me. It was just a fun little project when we first moved in. Anyway, I am talking about something very exciting today. And right now when I'm recording this, it's the winter. It's like January of 2024. And I'm going to be recapping my year of no new clothes. So last year, 2023, I didn't buy any new clothes, and I'll kind of dive into what exactly that meant to me or looked like. And it was an interesting challenge, and I definitely went in with one set of expectations and then came out realizing like, oh, not exactly what I thought would happened. But it was still a super fun experience, and I want to kind of dive into my reasoning on doing that specific challenge, what that meant for me, and just kind of some really, topics, some intense topics that I care about when it comes to fashion, sustainable fashion, the world, the climate, all that fun stuff. So I'm gonna sip my coffee here and grab my notes, and we are gonna dive in. Also, I cannot decide what's happening with my hair today. I was going to kind of fix it and curl it properly. So I started just, pulling the curl out of the bangs a little bit. And then I was like, no, I don't feel like I have the oomph to do that right now. It's a snow day today too. So it's so beautiful outside. It's been snowing all day. And so it's been really cozy. And I was like, I don't want to waste my day curling my hair when I could just be chatting with the folks on the camera. So here we are. Okay, so for 2023, like I said, I committed to buying no new clothes for the whole year. And it's not a secret that I love thrifted fashion. I love sustainable shopping. If you're here from my India and Stuff Instagram page, you definitely know that that is true to me. But I've gone through most of my life, thrifting has always been a part of the kind of, how I acquire new clothes, or when I need something, I'm usually thrifting at some point. But I was like, this is kind of what I've been doing most of my life anyway. What would it be like to actually set parameters and decide I'm going to commit to this for a whole calendar year? And part of the reason that I'm already obsessed with thrifting is financial. When I was a kid, we thrifted out of necessity. And then as an adult, I'm thrifting because it's so much more sustainable, and it's more sustainable for your wallet. You save so much money when you're thrifting. So I'm always kind of yeah, I love a good deal, but now I'm also this is really good for the planet, saving clothes from a landfill, all that good stuff. So when it came to making this decision for a whole year, I was like, okay, let's set some rules, because I love shopping. I love buying a new thing here or there and adding a little something to my closet, but I've never ever been someone to spend, gobs of money on brand new things, or feel like I have to get the next fast fashion trend, or, go out every weekend to Easton or Polaris and go to the mall and go shopping. I'm not that kind of person. But I do love a good, oh, I'm going to go to Target and just kind of see what's there. Oh, that's cute. Might add that to my cart. Or I don't know, you're seeing something online and you're like, that'd be fun. I want to try that look out, something like that. We're all kind of there, I feel like anyone who says that they don't get influenced by fast fashion trends in some way, probably fooling everyone. So I decided to do this because I was like, let's see if I save more money. It's kind of one of my expectations. And that I would buy less clothes. I was like, I think I will buy less items when I dedicate the whole year to being a no new clothing item year, because my only option would be thrifting. And usually I don't add something to my cart and bring it home unless I absolutely love it, which is just great, a great idea anyway when you're shopping for anything. But for the whole year, I was like, I just think I would buy less because usually at a thrift store, you're going to see, either old pieces that people don't like and don't like for a reason, right? Like they don't fit the right way, they're out of style, or you'll find a gem or two and it's harder. It's like few and far between. So when you do find it, you're like, I'm taking that and putting it in my bag. So that was kind of my expectation. And I did set parameters for myself because there are still things that I knew I was going to need throughout the year. Like every year I try to get some good high quality bras. Like I feel like every winter I'm like, all right, time to get 1 or 2 more bras. So in January of 2023, I did buy some new undergarments from Aerie. And then I got some new like underwear at one point because I just feel like every year you need to like freshen up the panties. It's sometimes too much. So my rules for this no new clothes thing was like no new items purchased from a store. Anything that's gifted or thrifted, that's fine. So like I do have a couple brands that I work with who give me clothing items to do reviews or to do UGC content. So that was fine. And then I was going to say too, I also expanded this to accessories. I didn't buy any accessories new last year. I have a couple purses that I acquired from thrifting or from gifting items, and jewelry up until literally the week of my birthday, Christmas Eve, I bought a pair of earrings that my friend like handmade. And so I was like, it's like right towing the line of like, technically it's a new item, but it's also a small business. So it's way more ethical. So I was like, fine, I will also admit to that I did not totally stick to my no new accessories either. But overall, I did a pretty good job, I would say. So what happened with the challenge was I started doing it. And then a few months later, one of the accounts that I follow who really helps inspire me to like stick to trying to find sustainable brands as best as I can is the Remake Our World account on Instagram. And I think their website's called remake.world. And so they come up with statistics onto why people should care about climate change, why people should care about shopping sustainably. And they have a whole bunch of amazing statistics, but something that I thought was interesting on their website said that as of 2023, it's estimated it would take just 4 days for a top fashion CEO to earn what a Bangladeshi woman would in her whole life. So a garment worker in Bangladesh would work her entire life before she would ever make the same amount that one of these fast fashion CEOs would. And not to be like that annoying person on TikTok who's like, you should just like wear clothes that are made out of garbage bags and recycle your milk cartons if you want to drive a car. And, it's like, okay, some of that's just completely unrealistic. These brands exist, they're built, people work there. This is livelihood for a lot of folks. But how do we make it better so that our grandkids and their kids don't have to be the people in the WALL-E movie from Disney where they're just like floating in outer space and ordering garbage off the internet? Like, we only have one planet and we really genuinely do need to take care of it. Like, I think I could get on a soapbox right here because this is one of those key things that I think a lot of Christians and people who follow Jesus completely don't want to talk about or just overlook. Scripture is extremely clear in Genesis what the role of humanity is, and it's to tend and keep the earth, the whole planet that God made. And we love to think that came after the fall, but actually that was, in Scripture before the snake, the serpent, enters the scene, right? So like, humans were placed on this planet by God. God created this planet, and then he's like, hey, humans, take care of it. Thanks. And then the fall of man and sin enters the world. So the work that we as humans were given by the Lord has always been a good thing that happens before sin enters. So anyway, that's a little soapbox moment just to say that like, this is our good work. This is what the Lord, I think, wants of us. Not necessarily to like only ever thrift. I'm not saying that. But I am saying to care about the planet, to care about the people on the planet, and to do everything in our power to say, how do we take this world that was good, is now fallen, and make it best? So I think that is kind of my conviction behind it, and why I'm such a thrifter, sustainable shopper fan. Is like, this really, I think this has a kingdom impact attached to it. And I would love to see more people who follow Jesus kind of rise up in agreement or challenge it. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe fast fashion is the future. Who knows? Okay. So back to the Remake account. They posted something a few months into my challenge, and they were doing a 90-day no new clothes challenge and asking people to sign up. And I was like, great, I'm already doing this for my own thing. Let me sign up on yours too. So I took the pledge, and then at the end of the year, they gave a review of what happened. And they said 5,700 people decided to do the 90-day no new clothes pledge. I'm not sure if this data that I'm about to read you is from just those 90 days or for people who like didn't do new clothes for a whole year, but either way. They said because of that, over 1,195,000 kilograms of CO2 emissions were prevented, and 1.8 million garment workers were protected through the passage of international accord, which is something that they were, helping that channel of 5,700 people help sign petitions and just kind of get the word out about these new rules and things that would actually help garment workers. And they also had a whole bunch of other statistics on water saved. I don't really understand what blue water means, but they have it on their site. It says 56,046,375 liters of blue water was preserved, and then over 52,553 kilograms of waste has been prevented from landfills, and an estimated, I thought this was interesting, an estimated $2,720,025 has been saved by just those 5,700 people who decided not to buy clothes. I think that's so interesting. Like, I love good data to like inform our decisions. And I was like, dang. Again, not sure if that's from people who didn't buy clothes a whole year or just 90 days, but either way, it's always encouraging to see statistics, even if they feel small, in the face of like, if Amazon did better or if Nike did better, things would be so much easier. What is me thrifting or me not buying this item going to do? It's hard to say. I'm not going to guilt trip anyone into that. And I'll buy things new still going forward once in a while. But I think it's also encouraging to be like, our little steps and our little habits actually do have a huge ripple effect. And every time we choose a little bit more of a sustainable option, I think we're prolonging the earth from completely combusting for our great-great-grandkids. Anyway, another amazing resource that inspired me to do this challenge is the Good On You website. They also have some social media accounts that are really interesting. They're basically just an organization that does an audit of different brands and says like what their sustainability ranking is and what their ethics and morality ranking is and how they treat animals and if they test on animals and that kind of stuff. So they're just a great resource, and I always love seeing their content. Another great thing that they do is they will give you alternative options. So if they say, hey, we did an audit on Skims, it doesn't look so great, they'll give you like 5 or 6 alternate versions of the Skims brand that exist that are more sustainable, more ethical, whatever. I think that's really helpful. Okay, so I, throughout this whole year, I didn't really purchase anything new. Like I said, instead I went thrifting quite a lot. And I usually go as like a self-care thing once a month just to kind of disassociate in a thrift store. I get a little special coffee. I put my little AirPods in and I just kind of waddle around a thrift store. And it's amazing, guys. It's so fun. Even if I don't buy anything, it's just fun to like look around, try stuff on, feel pretty. I don't know. It just feels like just my little self-care. So I have a theory about thrifting in general, and it's that we keep seeing in fashion trends that are what have already existed. This probably, is true for a lot of things like interior design or even, maybe food. I have to explore that more. But for example, the past 2 or 3 years, 90s fashion has been the trend. It's been the main thing. We've been seeing a lot of, dark mocha brown colors. We've been seeing low-rise jeans, really fitted graphic tees, like cargo pants that are low-rise cut, and braless tops that are really low, like camis or tank tops. We've been seeing leather jackets, baggy, looser fitting denim, mules, like all kinds of that stuff. Basically, if you watch an episode of Friends and then you like walk out in your nearest like downtown area, you're gonna see some of the girls wearing the same things. And that's fine. I love the 90s. Fantastic. I wish I was a little older in the 90s, honestly. I think I was born 10 years too late. But anyway, we've also been seeing this with the old money aesthetic that was trending, and I personally love. You can also kind of catch my cute little sweater here. Love it. Guess what? Thrifted, baby. And it's like a genuinely older, like vintage sweater. But we saw this with the Karl Lagerfeld themed Met Gala this past year, which he was a designer at Chanel, and Chanel was like kind of the main brand when you think of that old money tweed jacket, buttons, the Upper East Side Manhattan vibe. Like, this is all stuff we've seen before. And so I'm wondering if people just crave what they can't have. So we look back at the past and go, oh my gosh, I would have loved to be a 1920s flapper. That's the style, and then enough people get on that trend and make it a whole thing. It becomes mainstream, and then people counter the mainstream trend and try to do something different again. So I think that's going to happen. Like, the 90s stuff is like super in, and because it's in, people are going to grow tired of it pretty soon and look for the next thing and go, oh, maybe we need to do 70s, or maybe like, I don't know if you guys have seen Target a couple years ago did like the Pilgrim era dresses. I think they literally were taking this theory and running with it. They were going back in history and going, let's do the 1910s. Let's just make some like cotton dresses that go up to your chin hair, and everyone wants to be Laura Ingalls Wilder now. Let's do it. And I was like, okay, no, not the right time. But I think they're onto something, that like every time we're going back and pulling a trend out from decades ago, I don't know, the next thing is either extremely future focused and something we've never seen before, but it's easier to go back in the archives of history in the past and pull something out of fashion and say, let's make this big again. So my theory is that this will actually start trending more. I think more and more people will start to realize, especially with Gen Z being amazing contributors to this whole conversation, I think more people will realize how desperate like the planet and how just unethical sometimes these brands can treat their garment workers and their factory workers, and really like start to run forward with new ideas on thrifting, on secondhand fashion, on sustainability as a whole. I think I've seen a lot more people than any other time in my whole life really get into thrifting, which also kind of feels weird. It's like when your favorite indie artist, like that you discovered, blows up and becomes like super famous. Like, my husband feels that way about Noah Kahan. He's like, I was listening to Noah Kahan like end of college, and now he's famous. And it's like, what the heck? I was an early fan. Or everyone, I'm from Ohio, so everyone around me is like, I met 21 Pilots once at a street fair, and now they're famous, but it's because of me. I'm guilty of that too. I did actually meet them at a street fair. But it's like that feeling of like, I thrifted when we were kids from necessity. Like, we didn't really buy new clothes. We would go to Kohl's once in a while to get like new shoes every year, but that was it. And it was always with a coupon because, of course. But like, I remember my 10th or 11th birthday party, I had my friends come over and we went to Goodwill, and I told everyone to bring $10 to like buy an outfit with me at Goodwill. And I think like no one else did, because they were all like, what? Why are we thrifting? Like, this is smelly. And so I just think it's interesting. Like, when you grow up with like a little bit less, you're like, this was like my way of life. Like, this is like what we're doing to like get new clothes. And now to watch it become a thing where I've never seen more people start their own boutique, or there's girlies on TikTok who are like styling boxes for people based on their Pinterest boards and then thrifting the clothes and then gifting it back to them. So like, someone will pay someone $250 to run around thrift stores and hand select pre-worn items for them and then ship it to them. Like, I love that. But I'm also like, whoa, hey, wait a second. y'all thought this was stupid a couple years ago. Like, I don't know, it feels kind of weird. Anyway, my hunch is that people will keep doing this. It's already kind of always been a really cool thing to find unique vintage items and staple lifelong pieces that you buy once and never have to think about. Then you also have that story with it. Like if you're antiquing or shopping at a vintage store, you're like, look at this amazing item. Like this is a faux fur coat from 1924, and you could find me in Manhattan smoking a long, long pipe. It's kind of cool. But the other thing is also true. There's also never been more fashion brands than right now. And I don't think these giant brands who are profiting off of, people who do like shopping and retail therapy in the fashion industry, they're not just going to close their doors tomorrow. So how do we really do a good job of making it better? One of my thoughts is just if you are a big fast fashion brand or just a big fashion brand in general, taking steps to legitimately choose sustainability and ethics, really considering your workers at all levels of the stage, and choosing them and proper moral choices rather than greenwashing for profit. I think that's the way forward. Like, I really feel like I want to see a revolution with all these brands that have such a platform and so much access, give back in better ways than just like, oh, we did this campaign or, 10% off. Like giving back money, I think will no longer be the reason people buy. I think people are seeing through marketing tactics. And when someone gets like a 50% off item, I love a good deal, but I'm like, oh, you're still profiting off of this 50% off item. So I know it's marked up at least 50% so that you can take that amount off kind of thing. So I think maybe a better thing would be to know, like, I will gladly pay full price for an item if I know that, your sales associates make a livable wage, your garment workers in different countries make a livable wage and work in ethical, moral environments and have paid vacation leave, and that your CEO doesn't make $1 million bajillion dollars when your garment workers make 13 cents an hour. Cough, cough, Sheen. I'm looking at you. So those are just some of my thoughts about this whole crazy industry as someone who has never worked in the fashion industry myself. So what do I know? So when the year wrapped up, the way that I looked back on it, thinking of my expectations going in, I originally said I wanted to do this to be more sustainable, buy less overall, and save more money. And here's what actually happened. Basically, I realized I love a good shopping trip, and I still spent a decent amount on clothes, which were all frankly unnecessary. Only probably 3 times that I went thrifting last year was it for a reason. One time I needed a swimsuit, one time I needed new shoes, and another time I was looking for a duffel bag for a trip. So those were like the 3, like, oh, okay, like I would like a new item. Here we go. The rest of the times, it's usually like I was going to some event, and instead of wearing something in my closet, I wanted to look for a new sweater or a new dress or something like that. I just recapped with my husband too, and he was saying that he still thinks I saved way more than if I had just bought all those items new. And I totally agree. But I also noticed something that there is still this impulse when I'm thrifting to treat it like fast fashion because the price point is so low that I'll add more to my cart or check out and buy more things than I need because I'm like, it's only $5. Like, it's only a $7 skirt. Like, why not? So I do think I tend to shop more product because the price is so low. When in reality, maybe a better holistic practice is like, I need less overall anyway, so I could probably do without. Another thing I learned is that it is still hard to find sizing when thrifting. And that is one of my things that I always have to like caveat. I'm always trying to tell my friends, like, go thrifting. Oh my gosh, like, please, like, you never know what you're gonna find. You could find your favorite brand with a brand new tag. But I'm also like, it does stink when you find something and you try it on and it doesn't fit. There's no option to like go look for the next size. It's like, well, you're out of luck and you kind of have to start all over. So I had that happen a couple times because I feel like just your body shape changes as you get older and as like, things happen. Like sometimes your hips are wide and sometimes your stomach is small, and then you're trying on jeans in a thrift store and getting frustrated because you have 7 different pairs of 2 different sizes and nothing fits. So that is still a frustration that I want to find a better solution to. I did feel overall better about all my purchases, knowing that I was supporting a lot of nonprofits like Volunteers of America, Salvation Army, Goodwill, and my purchases were not causing any harm to the planet or people. That's a big one, to just feel better about those choices. Again, I'm not trying to like guilt anyone to be like, you're all doing it wrong. Like, you're not doing anything wrong, but we could do things in a way that's best. And I do think that finding solutions moving forward, whether that's with new brands that are, you know, 0 carbon emissions or carbon neutral, treat their employees like gold, pay them fair wages, and really do a good job of sourcing sustainable, long-lasting materials, or thrifting. I don't know. Like, there are ways to move forward, and it did feel good to be like, every time I'm buying from Goodwill, I don't really feel guilty about it, because I'm like, yeah, I spent $30, but like, it's a good cause, and I got a cool shirt and this cool sweater. So I genuinely do love well-made clothes, and sometimes the bad side about thrifting is sometimes that the pre-worn clothes means they have a shorter lifespan. They've already kind of been worn in a little bit. So I'm just kind of prolonging them from going to a landfill rather than being like, I am the savior and I have fixed the problem. Like, thrifting doesn't fix the problem entirely, but I do think it can help prolong and elongate the lifespan of different items. Okay, so now that the challenge is over, I have some items that I have been eyeballing, and I'm not doing the same challenge this year. I just didn't put any parameters when it came to clothing this year on things. I think just overall, I will probably just buy less this year in general, just budget reasons, as well as I just have enough. Like, I do still love doing thrifting as a self-care thing, but I think overall I'm being more strategic about styling outfits, what's in my closet, and why it's there. So every few months I do a closet clean out, and I'm happy to do another episode on kind of what that looks like and the process that I go through to kind of decide what's staying and what's going. But yeah, I just didn't want to put any expectations on this year. And truly, there were some items last year that I was thrifting that I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to not thrift that anymore. For example, I found myself getting into, I work out. I found myself working out more, and I wanted to honor my challenge. So I went to the thrift store, got a pair of Nike leggings that were already worn and a couple new sports bras. And I'm fine with that. I know that might creep some people out. I give it a good wash before I put anything on my skin. But I was kind of like, okay, I would probably buy a whole like workout set brand new in the future, just because you get really sweaty. And I don't know, I was like, okay, maybe moving on, when I'm out of this challenge, I'll probably buy something new. I also think when we purchase something ourselves that is at a higher price point, we take care of it better. Like, you're investing more. So you're like, I'm gonna own this and take care of it. But again, when it's thrifted, sometimes it feels like fast fashion. I'm like, oh, I only spent $5 on that. So it's like fine if it gets stains, and I'll just like throw it away. And it's like, that's not like the best outlook. So I will probably do that. I also thrifted a swimsuit last year, which again, I have a rule about it. If I'm going to thrift a swimsuit, it needs to have the tags on it, or at least like those protection linings. So I found a blue swimsuit. I think the brand was just Fashion Nova, which is kind of a fast fashion brand. I wore it 2 times on a vacation and then once at a pool, and it's already like faded and falling apart. And so I'm like, okay, I'm good. And then this year, we went to like a little retreat with our friends, and there was a hot tub here in the winter. And I was like, oh, okay, let's do this. And we're like, 10 minutes down the road heading to this retreat center. And I realized I didn't pack a swimsuit. So the first purchase that broke my No New Things challenge, rolling into 2024, was a brand new swimsuit from Target, which, isn't the best either, but I will say it's very cute, and it's lilac purple. Okay, so the other items I'm going to be keeping an eye on that I'll probably purchase brand new this year, an Express bodysuit. I was doing a modeling thing That sounded really bougie. It wasn't that cool. I was modeling for a friend, and the look I was going for was this like specific bodysuit that Express carries, and so I rented it essentially and put it on for the day, and I really, really loved the feel of it. It was like a high neck black bodysuit, really chic, and it was kind of like shapewear built in. So keeping an eye on that. Skims bras, shapewear, and maybe more dresses. If you saw, I have a recent TikTok and Instagram reel that I posted a couple weeks ago of my Skims dress that my husband bought me. And it's real nice. I do want to caveat and say that Skims on the Good On You site has a really low sustainability rating. So I'm not really sure overall if that's a brand that I'm going to keep buying from, but if they have a good sale, especially with bras, they're just hard to find. So I'm like, if I can buy these and they last for the next 5 years, you know, you really want good undergarments that make you feel good too. So they're on my list. Okay, so I also put maxi skirts from the brand Able. I have a code from them. They are one of my sustainable brands that I love, genuinely love, and love to partner with. So I will put my code somewhere in the show notes. I love just keeping an eye on things from Madewell. They're just a cute brand. I think they have been accused of some like greenwashing things as well, which just basically means like claiming that something is sustainable or good for the environment with schemy marketing tactics rather than actually making sure it is. But at the end of the day, I don't know that firsthand, and I do think that they are one of the brands that does a good balance of like making cute items that are more timeless than trendy, and tend to have like some good sustainability factors about their brand overall. I don't know how to pronounce the name of this brand. I think it's Nisolo, but they are a shoe brand. They have a very, very strong sustainability pledge, and I really find that attractive. But they have gorgeous mules. You cannot tell me that the mule is ever out of style. I love a good mule, a good wedge. Really, really cute shoes, and they're pretty decently priced, like pretty fair in my opinion for how sustainable they are. They're like $130 to $150. But I'm just getting more attracted to brands and products that are like, you buy it once and it's gonna last you for like 20 years. Like, that's the kind of stuff I'm after right now. And so they are on my list for sure, as well as Blundstones. I would love a pair of Blundstones. Another one I put down, Reformation. They're a very sustainable brand, at least based on what they say. The only thing that kind of makes me, I don't know, just like wonder, is they have gorgeous items and they're just very high priced, which is fine. I do think we should be paying more money than we have been. Like Target has done such a disservice of being like $5 tank top. And I'm like, we should be paying like $50 for tank tops. Like if you're paying everyone a fair wage and not making children work in a sweatshop, it should cost more. But at the same time, Reformation has really higher price points. So like their linen pants, stunning. Like I would love a pair of their linen pants. They're like $288. You know what I mean? So it's like an amazingly sustainable brand that I can trust. And I know that they're giving back to the right people, but that's out of my price range. So we'll have to see about that. Another brand that has some good social sustainable kind of commitments is Ogle Move. I think it's Ogle, it might be OGL. But they have like everyday kind of elevated but lower price point with socially conscious like statements on their website. They have really cute like mock necks and turtlenecks, things that you could wear like literally on a hike, but then also to the office or like around your house or something. So I want to keep an eye on them as well. But yeah, I know that was just a lot of me rambling. It's so weird doing a podcast because I genuinely, one of the things I'm most self-conscious about is my voice. And so doing this where it's just nonstop my voice is kind of crazy. But I appreciate anyone who stayed to listen to all that craziness. That was kind of my year. So I think it was a good challenge. I have tons and tons of items that I got from my Year of No New Things at the thrift store, and I post about them frequently on my Instagram. So if you are following India and Stuff on Insta, do it. I think we're still the McCuties on TikTok. We're the McCues on YouTube, and then obviously this is the India and Stuff show, which is for all the other stuff. So thanks guys for tuning in. I hope this has helped you kind of maybe rethink some of how you're gonna approach shopping this year. And I'll probably do some more episodes on thrifting tips, how to think more sustainably, styling what's in your closet already, all that kind of good stuff in the coming weeks. But thank you so much, guys. If it's snowing where you are today, enjoy that, cuddle up, cozy up, grab your coffee. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye!